Hi, I am Patrick. This is Eric. Together we
I
are
am.
Just Got Played.
We are.
You certainly are. On a Tuesday night, we're always here filming on a Tuesday night. You should come by and see us. And if I'm not here, at least Eric will be here. At the Cloak and Blaster.
Cloak and Blaster!
Very good, Eric. We just got done playing Planet Fulcrum, which is a GameCrafter game. It's only available on GameCrafter, at least as of right now.
Yes.
Join us at Cloak and Blaster with Eric for Planet Fulcrum.
Good drink.
Eric, tell us a little bit about Planet Fulcrum.
You got it, bud. Planet Fulcrum is a board game, and there are winners and losers. So with multiple people, there would be multiple losers and just one winner, and with just the two of us, there's one winner and one loser tonight.
But I feel like we both kind of won because we were together.
No, I definitely won.
Oh, okay.
I mean, spending time with you is always a win, but
2 points. You won by
but
2
I
points.
technically won.
2 points.
Yeah, but 2 points is a win. So Planet Fulcrum is thematically, you are these people that have been sucked up onto this planet, and you have to fight over territories to become the champion of the planet. I think that's what the rule book said anyway, something like that. But it is a area control game, and you get to move around the planet, take over spaces, and once all of these specific spaces get taken over, there's 3 in each of the 5 zones. Once they all get taken over, the game ends and we calculate victory points. Victory points are for owning spaces, for having cubes, having cards, all that kind of stuff. I'll go over that a little bit more at the end of this explanation. But to give you an idea of a general turn overview, your turn will consist of a move, an action, and then you will adjust your morality track. You move based on your abilities, and I can go over these abilities real quick. You've got 5 abilities on your character. You've got speed, intelligence, energy, resilience, and strength. And there are cards that represent each, and they'll be color-coded to each of the zones that are on the board. They will start at 3. For a move, you would move 3 spaces, because that's what your current ability is. There's up to 3 spaces. You're not allowed to double back or stay where you're standing, so you kind of have to move around and do different things in between turns. But you would move, and whatever space you land on, you do the action. And the different kind of spaces that you've got these fulcra, the central fulcra spaces. The central fulcra allow you to take the cubes of that color, and they're called fulcra because we are on Planet Fulcrum. So if I did that here, I would take some orange cubes and I would take 3 orange cubes because my current power level is 3. I can also go to this outer fulcra space that lets me take fulcra from areas that I'm not in, so I could take pink, green, blue, or black, not orange. I can also go through these teleport spaces during my movement that lets me move to the different areas. And I can also go to these meteor spaces. The meteor spaces let me draw meteor cards. And these you'll hold in your hand, and those have like combat modifiers. Sometimes there's like a pair matching thing where you can get fulcra cubes. And then there are the 3 spaces in the area that are controllable. You have to control areas or control zones. I don't know, areas or zones, whatever. You have to control these spaces in the orange area to be able to level up and also to be able to eventually end the game. There is a kind of scaling cost to these. So when I'm at level 3 on my orange, I can only control 1 area at a time, and I have to have 1 area before I'm allowed to level up my orange ability. So then once I do that, I can move back to the middle, get some fulcra, level up my ability, and now I can control more areas in the orange area, and then I can have 2. And then to get it up to level 5, then you can control all 3 in any given area. So, like I said, you move, then you take actions, and then you adjust morality. Each action has a morality associated with it. So whenever you control these that haven't already been taken, you move towards the good side. Whenever you control one that somebody else already owns, so you're kind of fighting, you're bickering over things, you actually move towards the evil side. Whenever you pick up fulcra, you get good alliance, and whenever you pick up meteor cards, because those are the things that you're going to use in combat, you get bad faction. And they're called guardians and overlords, so that's good and bad. And then you got nomads, which is kind of in the middle, and that's on these little cards here. So you'll have these little white discs that you'll move up. They'll start here in the middle, and if I took a bad action, so if I did something, if I took a portal and my movement is 3, this would shift over 3 this way. So now I'm kind of a little evil in that category.
Naughty, you got naughty.
Just a little bit. And if at any point you have a clear majority in one of those areas, so if I've got 2 in Guardians and 2 in Overlords, there's no majority there, but the second one of those from the Guardian moves into the Nomads area, now I have 1 in Guardians, 1 in Nomads, and 2 in the Overlords. All of them are going to shift all the way to the right to the Overlords faction, and now that's the faction that I belong to. There's some interesting stuff that happens there in that when I talked about leveling up your cards, leveling up requires you to own or to control the territories in an area. And whenever you control territories in an area, it's the ones that you own, but other people also own territories typically. If you're part of the Guardians faction, you all share. You guys all get along, you like each other. So if all 3 of them are owned in an area and we're both part of the Guardians faction, then I own 3, even though Patrick may own all 3 of them, but I'm also part of it. Exactly, he lets me borrow them because we're buds.
Because we're friends.
Yeah, we're buds. Yeah.
I would never let you borrow mine.
I know.
Yeah.
We discovered that. But if we're part of the Nomads faction, I own what I own, he owns what he owns. And if we're part of the Overlords faction, whoever's the strongest Overlord, so you add up all these numbers, whoever's the strongest Overlord is considered the Dark Paragon. And they're the ones that own all of the red spaces, and nobody else is allowed to level up anymore because nobody else on the red team's allowed to level up. And
his stuff can't be taken. So you've got to take him on.
So the only thing I really haven't gone over is combat. And what happens is if you ever move into the same space as another player, you have to combat each other. And your combat is based on the cards that you have in your hand, plus whatever area that you're in and whatever side you're on in combat. So if you were the one that initiated combat, you're attacking, and you would use your strength score, plus whatever area you're in. So if you're in the orange area, you use your speed as your base points, plus whatever your black card says because you're attacking, and that's your strength score, and then whatever cards you throw down from your hand, the meteor cards that you've got that are weapons that actually adjust your attack score. Then the defense has the same option, they're orange, and then they add their blue score, which is their resilience, and then they can throw down any cards, and whatever the difference is on either side, you lose whatever area that you're fighting over. So if we're fighting in orange and an attacker attacks with 14 and I can only throw down 13 on defense, I'm going to lose 1 point in speed. And you just go all the way down. Your scores range from 1 to 5, so if you're going to lose by a lot, you might as well just let it overflow because it doesn't really matter because you're only going to go down to 1.
Right, and technically that's also taking away your victory points, kind of, sort of as well.
Well, yeah. So that's the thing, is at the end of the game, and the game ends again once all of these, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 spaces are taken. We calculate victory points. Victory points are, there is a bonus for owning all 3 in a zone. So if you own all 3 of these, you get 4, and you own all 3 of these, you get 4. And then you get 2 points for every zone, or for every territory that you control, so every little chit that you've got in front of you. And then you get points for the numbers on these cards. So if you've leveled up a bunch of these, you'll get a bunch of points for that. Or if you've lost a bunch of combats, you'll not get a bunch of points because your scores will be low. And then you get a point for every cube and a point for every meteor card that you've got. And then you compare victory points at the end, and then I win.
And then Eric wins.
Yep.
But Eric, if you had to pick one thing you like the very most about this game, it is what?
It is?
What is it?
Are you going to guess for me?
No.
Okay. So if I had to pick something that I liked about this game, I would say that I actually kind of dug the balancing act that comes out of these abilities here, because your intelligence score limits the number of meteor cards that you can hold in your hand, so you can go to these areas and kind of fish for cards, but you've always got to discard down to your specified number. So if you're at 2, you can only hold 2 cards. If you're at 5, you can hold 5. It's great. You've got your speed, which adjusts the number of spaces that you can move, and the energy cubes came out to be really important. That leveling up this so that way you can hold more of the cubes on your cards, so that way you can actually level up. Because if I can only hold 3 on each card, there's no way for me to have 4 of something to level up in that new ability.
Arguably, either the most important area or zone, or speed also is very important. We'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah.
Arguably, the most important one is pink.
Yeah,
Second
absolutely.
only to orange.
Yep, yeah, leveling up your energy, because it helps you level up everything else. But I don't know, I really like that aspect of it. It kind of gave me, I mean, it was one of the things I really liked about playing Twilight Imperium, is you've got the, I forget what it's called, but it's like your command ability that lets you can only have X number of ships in each zone, and you can make that bigger so that way you can have more ships in each area. And if that number gets lower, you can have less ships in each area. So it's an interesting balancing act there. I really like that. What would you say?
Mine ties into that, actually. I really think that mathematically this game ties very, very well together. The fact that everything grows, that the more areas in a certain zone that you're trying to take control of, the higher that cost is per area. It's all of those things are important. Arguably, defense and intelligence don't seem to be as important to me. But attack, energy, and speed, very, very important aspects of it. And you're kind of trying to balance all that and make sure you capture enough stuff. I think mathematically this game is on point. I don't think that there are many other games that I've come across that are that well thought out when it comes to putting everything together, especially in an area control game that's got some aspects of almost hand building, right? So you kind of, when you're going through the meteor cards, you're trying to decide what you need. And I thought that was really cool, and it does kind of tie into what yours. So if both of us are saying, it's got to be fairly important.
Yeah.
But if you had to pick something you like the least, Mr. Little.
Something I like the least. Well,
something you like very little.
Something I like, yes. So one little niggly thing I didn't like, it's not the thing I like least about the game, but one little niggly thing I disliked is that these chits are laser cut. And when I punched these out, they made my hands like super sooty. And I didn't really like that as an experience.
You're dirty.
Yeah.
You got all dirty.
I also feel like this would be, I was really interested in the concept of the morality track at the beginning of all this. Like when I read through the rules, I even watched a little playthrough video to figure this out. The morality track really struck me as something that was going to be neat about this game. And in a 2-player game, the way we played it, we both went Guardians, and like we never ever did enough evil stuff to ever move either of us into Overlords or back into Nomads. We both kind of immediately shot up the Guardians and stayed there for the rest of the game. And again, maybe that was, it was one playthrough, just 2 players, so it's hard to say, but I was hoping for more here, and it just seemed impossible to ever get a majority in something else at that point. Maybe we just weren't fighting enough, but...
Well, which brings me to mine. The thing I like the least is the very concept of me coming in. Maybe I should explain first. I went to the darker area of the board, the
Demon's Forge.
Demon's Forge. I went to Demon's Forge, and I built myself up a little bit there. And then I went and just wanted to play around a little bit and see how it was. I smacked Eric around a little bit. But I did it in the speed area, in the one that dictates movement. So when he took the damage in that area, it really crippled him, brought him down to no movement, which really can cripple you. So at that point in the game, unless we were playing it wrong, and I don't think we were, I could have left, done a few things, come back, hit him again.
Yep.
And he never would have been able to build himself back up. So I'm thinking that in a 2-player game, if you get in a fight in the orange area, in the speed area, there might be some imbalance there that possibly could not recover from. I did lose the game, by the way, but I didn't honestly start taking advantage of that because I thought it might have been a critical means. Well, and also would have drugged the game out much longer. So that's the thing I like the least in the game. I'm sorry that you had to punch out all the chits, all the Game Crafter chits.
I mean, it wasn't a whole lot, and it wasn't
Did
too
you
bad.
smell them like Brian? Did you?
No, I didn't. Maybe I should.
The smell's probably off them now.
Yeah, they don't really smell like anything now.
I'm sorry. And another thing that's disappointing is they no longer smell like burnt cardboard.
That's true.
I am Patrick. This is Eric. This is Planet Fulcrum.
It is.
And this has just got played from
Look at the
Fulcrum
lid
Blaster.
again.
Yeah, look at the beautiful.
Look at the lid. It's very pretty.
It has a
I
good
like how
color.
pink it is.
I know you do.
I don't know that I have any other board games that have a pink lid.
Now you do.
Like, you want to talk about something that just sits on a shelf
And just-
that's just going to catch an eye? Like,
Yeah.
even just sideways. Like,
It would have been cool if the word Planet Fulcrum was on.
it would be. It's kind of like a clamshell lid.
Oh yeah, they don't close all the way.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It stands out on a shelf. Nice, clean front. I like it.
Yeah, dude, powering up. You see him powering up on the